Hi, my name is Patrick Luig. I'm national coach for science and education for the German Handball Federation, and I'm a connector between science and sports practice. Our main goal with the KINEXON Perform IMU is basically to optimize the load management of our players.
Okay, hi. My name is David Gröger, and I'm the strength and conditioning coach for the German Handball Federation, and we're using the KINEXON Perform IMU system since this fall, and it's quite interesting what we can get out of it. One of the main reasons for the Performance IMU system obviously is that it is portable. It's a mobile system that we can use anywhere, that's the main reason why we choose to work with Performance IMU.
Yeah, in addition, GPS technology is not available for an indoor sport, so we need another form of technology. And as David said, as the German Handball Federation, we have no fixed gyms or training courts, etc. So we need a portable system that helps us everywhere where our players are.
I think one big challenge is the monitoring of workload or training loads, and until now we had subjective measurements like the sleep and the wellness questionnaires, and also rate of perceived exertion. This is all very subjective. So now we have the possibility to have objective data to see what is the mechanical loads actually in a training session. And this is very useful for us to display to the coaches and also to the players, that they can see what is the really mechanical load that they had in a training session. And you can compare this to the subjective data like rate of perceived exertion. And this is quite interesting to see what is the feeling of the athlete and what is really what he performed on court.
The schedule for international elite players is very dense, so that is a big challenge for us. And moreover, the contact times with our players are very low compared to club teams. So we need a system that gives us immediate help, and we want to improve our decision making, which is basically based on subjective parameters. And one thing is to add more objective data for our decision making.
Yeah, so the advantage of the Performance IMU, of course, is the portability and the mobility of the system. We can use it everywhere, and this is the main advantage, I would say.
The second advantage might be that, especially in Handball Bundesliga Men and during the EHF tournaments, we also use the big KINEXON system, and we hope that there is a better transfer of data from the mobile KINEXON to the big KINEXON compared to using different technologies from different enterprises.
Okay, so first value that we detected, which is very useful, is the accumulated acceleration load. It shows us like a workload, and we can communicate with the coach very clearly and show him, okay, this is now the workload that you have, and it was the last session was like 500. This was very high. If you want to do a little bit less than the last session, then maybe you can stay about 350 for the accumulated acceleration load. And this is the point where I can lift my arm and say, okay, now we reached 350. This is one point, but I will also explain that the Performance IMU system helps us a lot in terms of diagnostics. So we can have a look on court performance values that the players display, like jumping, like sprinting, how fast can they go, how high can they jump. And so I can ask myself the question, do I need a diagnostic of performance outside of the court, or can I use the on-court data? And they are much more specific than that what I can evaluate outside of the court.
Basically, keep it simple is a very good strategy for transferring information, and this is because of head coaches don't want to deep dive into data. So our job is to filter information, and what we need are reliable but easy to work with metrics. And actually, we are starting to work with the KINEXON Perform IMU, and we need to check and identify which are the criteria, the parameters that we need that help to optimize our training processes. And well, that's probably the next steps we are going to implement, to have like a very small dashboard that we can show to our head coaches and give them options for their training decisions.
Okay, so this is the dashboard that I created for myself. I took some metrics like distance, accumulated acceleration load as a workload. I look on the number of jumps, on the heights of the jumps, on total exertions, maximum speed, and changes of directions. This is here now for me interesting. It's not especially that what the coach is most interested in, but you can compare these metrics to the subjective metrics that you have from players, like rate of perceived exertion, and then you have a feeling for the individual load and for the individual perceived exertion that they have comparing to objective data. It helps us a lot to detect the load of the player and also say, okay, this player I have to regenerate a little bit more and do some less in the next sessions, or she or he can do more in the next session. So if you go on, you can also see, if you take this metric, the accumulated acceleration load, you see the proportions of the exertion. So therefore, a high accumulated acceleration load is not only that they really have a high exertion, it can be over time. If you have a long time playing or a long time in training, you also have a high accumulated acceleration load, but maybe you were just a little bit only in this very high area. So there you can see how the proportions are. This also helps us a lot. And the last slide here, you can compare players or compare position of the players with each other. You can also compare to opponent team if you also track them with the system. But here we use it in the training sessions to compare the players to each other and the players to the specific position.